Hello, Lex here. Today we are going to subscribe our buttons to events. Let's start with including the event listener, and let's inherit from the event listener in order to implement its interface. And here we need it to be public, and the function we need to override here is void on event. And also we need, let's make it private, event callbacks. We're not going to use actual callbacks, but this is kind of introduction to callbacks, to the idea of callbacks, not the exact callback approach. On mouse move, and also on mouse press. Let's implement those. Give me a moment here. Here we actually need to include event system itself, and this file includes we just need here. Here, let's say we want to subscribe on events, on the events we are interested in, only if this element is enabled. So on enable, in the enable function, we will be subscribing to the events we are interested in. Event we are interested. Let's say mouse moved. And we need to pass in this class instance. And also let's say on the mouse pressed event, mouse button pressed actually. Kind of weird name here. And here in disable function we need to unsubscribe from those events. How we are going to do that? Well, let's see here. Event system, what we have. Unsubscribe method. Actually looks exactly like subscribe, and that's it. Here, now when the button gets enabled, it subscribes on those events. When it gets disabled, unsubscribes. Okay, here on event we need a switch statement here, and we are going to be checking the event type. So in case mouse has moved, let's say let's call our this on mouse move and pass event here. And let's say in case mouse has been pressed, we call our on mouse press actually. So let's specify our actions, what we want to do if mouse has moved, for example. We need to perform some dirty trick here. Here we need to store our chord mouse position last. Let's call it mouse position last. The last mouse position. This is actually the position from the last received mouse move event. Let's see, mouse data, double board, mouse position. And here, a bunch of if statements. We are going to check here if our last known mouse position X within the bounds of our button, and if, since we have the button size on Y direction equals 1, we are going to simply check if our Y position of the cursor are exactly equal our button position. And if so, let's change our button attribute to highlight our button. Button attribute hovered. And else we need to set the default attribute. And let's say on mouse press what we are going to do here. Well, the first we're going to check position in the same kind of fashion here. But here we will specify another nested if statement. Let's say event mouse data, and we need to know double board button state. Is the button state of our mouse our button state is actually weird name for that, but this is the actual mouse button, not its state. But whatever. Equals. And here we do not have such a class like F mouse button. So we need to implement this right now. Let's create input folder in our source directory. And here we are going to store buttons. Let's create a class and call it fMouseButton. We can create an enum for that maybe. I do not exactly remember why I decided to use integers for that. Maybe because I don't want to convert enums into the double words or whatever. But let's say we are going to use here the double word actually. Yeah, this is why. Static const expression. This one will be a compile time evaluated thing. And we need the right button also here. These kind of stupid macros here, this is Windows names for these buttons, so don't ask me why it's so weird. And now, there we have it. We don't need this mouse button to be the class. Let's make it struct instead. So now those variables are public, unmodifiable values. Now we can say event system push event. On this event we want to push another event. Event type. Actually, we don't have the appropriate event type. Let's implement this here. We need event type like button press, the button press. And we also need to provide some kind of data here. Let's go to the event. So we don't have any additional data structures here, only these three. We need to specify more. Let's create our data folder, and here let's create our data header maybe. Let's better call it like event data instead. And here let's implement our event data first. Let's implement struct. Let's call it fButton data. And here we need, so here we actually need our word ID that we have specified before, in case we want to distinguish different buttons from each other, to know exactly what button has been pressed. And here we also want to know which mouse button has been pressed when the mouse cursor been at the coordinates of this button. And here we need to include this event data in the event system, or better to into the event class even. And the data folder, let's move our event data into the events folder instead of storing it outside. And here, simple as that. Now we need to specify a constructor for our button event. Oh, trouble double deal. So now we have it here. Button data and the button pressed event. Now we can, here, let's retrieve our ID first. And here, let's say, and that's it. This is a pretty long video though. In the next one, we are going to create here in our application, we're going to create our console window class in order to enable, or maybe we already did that, right? Or not. Yeah, we are not using event catcher just yet to enable our key and mouse events in console, to disable this highlighting thing. So next time we are going to include window class here, our event catcher to catch events. We are going to poll events here, and in our menu here we will specify, we already have buttons here. We are going to, we actually don't need to do anything here in order to make our buttons work with events. So next time we will make it work. Probably we'll see something on the screen finally, button highlighting. Let's push our changes. And that's it. See you next time. Bye.